Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Tuesday mountain weather update, and it is a powder day in a number of locations, including Jackson Hole. They're reporting about a foot of new snow over the last 24 hours at the summit, about 2 feet in the last 2 days, putting their season total now at about 113 at the summit. And I'll do a comparison of a few resorts and their season totals here in a second, but it is going to be an outstanding day. I mean, you've got snow all the way down to the Bridger at the base there. The conditions are going to be spectacular today. And it looks like it's at about 18 degrees at the summit right now. Now, up the road at Big Sky, reporting 7 inches of new snow in the last 24 hours. Steamboat, little dirty northwest flow, is producing some very light snow around Steamboat. In fact, some of that snow all the way down to the I-70 corridor. I'll show you the radar for that in just a second. And up at Revelstoke, it is a powder day. I mean, what a stretch for interior BC. And it's just getting started. I've got heavy snow moving into Revelstoke and a lot of interior BC this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow morning. So tomorrow is going to be an even bigger powder day across interior BC. Here's radar. Out of the west, you can see the very light snow, the residual snow hanging on over the Tetons, parts of Idaho, and just barely brushing parts of extreme northern Utah. Also note the next area, the next storm system, that big slug of moisture hitting the Pacific Northwest. That's the storm that will bring the heavy snow into parts of BC. So let me take you down to Salt Lake. Again, very light precip brushing the Wasatch, 0 to 1 inch of accumulation with that. And a lot of this is sliding down into Colorado with this dirty flow. So you can see a little bit of this. This is a classic northwest flow pattern where it sort of gets hung up over the Continental Divide, and the radar has a tough time seeing some of this. But snow and wind across the Front Range high peaks, across the Indian Peaks, Rocky Mountain National, Cameron Pass, a little bit over Steamboat, Buff Pass, and down towards I-70, but not looking at a lot of accumulation. Potentially 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4. Okay, let me give you the lay of the land here. So this is water vapor satellite imagery. Oranges and reds is drier air aloft. Your moisture aloft is going to be the whites and the blues. And notice in general, let me change colors here. So you can see the moisture diving down through. You can see all of the blues, the blue colors with this small storm system. So that's what is producing that snow and produced that snow over the Tetons, a little bit over the Wasatch, some through Colorado, and of course Montana. And then all of that will be sliding through and sliding by the course of today. Now behind it, a larger storm system. You can see it right here. This is the one that's already starting to produce some of that heavy rain and snow for the Pacific Northwest, and that will drive that heavy snow into BC this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow. There's another storm behind that, so both of these storms will take a very similar track, but the second one is going to go a little further to the south and hit California more squarely. And there is a storm system lined up for 12/24 and 12/25, so Christmas Eve, Christmas Day for the West Coast, and then eventually sliding into the interior. So that's something to look forward to. Let me compare where we are right now. So season to date, I just picked a few resorts. Revelstoke at 169 inches so far, 141 for Whistler Blackcomb, so doing extremely well. Copper's at 115 in Colorado. Jackson Hole's at 112, 113. Palisades, Tahoe, 108. Alta, 105, and Snowmass in western Colorado at 100 inches. So we're building the base. You know, we're in some of these places are doing extremely well with additional snow in my forecast. In fact, here's my snow timeline. Odds of best snow for the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Tahoe, interior BC, and the Northeast. So interior BC, heavy snow this afternoon and through tomorrow. Light on 19, and then potentially moderate to heavy 23, 24, and 25. Great stretch. In Colorado, light snow today, light accumulation. Light to moderate, 12/25, 12/26. And in the Wasatch, light this morning, and then potentially moderate to heavy 12/24, 12/25. So again, there's that storm system right around 12/24, 12/25 that appears as though it's going to go a little bit further to the south and affect California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho. So let me drill down just a little bit towards Alta. So this is the forecast mediagram for Alta at about 9,000 feet. So here's the column for today. And notice very light snow accumulation, not even half of an inch. Some of the wind gusts 30 to 35. And temperatures today largely teens to about 20, maybe 23 for the high. Tomorrow, no precip, it's dry, high temps at about 34 degrees. So that is Alta, very light snow this morning. Okay, let me look at the jet stream pattern. So here's a jet by close of business today. You can see the orientation in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be shuttling everything up through the Pacific Northwest into BC. Okay, here's Wednesday, close of business. So this is 12:18. Here's 12:19, a little bit of high pressure ridging across the lower 48. Here's 12:20. Look at the next trough of low pressure getting ready to swing into the west coast on 12:21. That moves into the Pacific Northwest and BC. Now, there's a larger storm system gathering behind that. Here it comes. Look at the dip in the jet right here. This is 12:24, Christmas Eve. So this would have moved through California, and it is now moving into the interior through 12:24, 12:25, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, and eventually Colorado right there. So that is a storm system to look forward to. Let's put some precip on all of this. So here is the forecast, radar and satellite. So by 5:30 this afternoon, you can see what's left over of our little storm system, kind of dropping down into the central and northern mountains of Colorado, so I-70 north. The bigger storm is hitting the Pacific Northwest in BC. Snow increases in BC through tomorrow, and there's going to be some overrun down into Banff, Sunshine, and up into Marmot Basin as well. All right, here's 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 12:18. Here is Thursday. Next storm system hits many of the same areas. A little bit of high pressure ridging across the lower 48. Finally, we start to see the bigger storm. Here it comes. So there's a storm on 12:23, but here's the bigger one for 12:24 and 12:25. So this one affects all the way, from the Sierra through the high Cascades and the high volcanoes up into BC. And look at it pushing snow into Idaho, eventually northwest Montana, and then it makes its move. So here we are on 12:24, 12:25. This is early Christmas morning, snowing over the Wasatch, snowing in the Tetons, snowing over western Colorado, and the snow increases in Colorado during the day. So here is this is Christmas afternoon, Christmas evening at 5:30. Snow moving out of the Wasatch, out of the Tetons, and through Colorado. Maybe even some snow for the Denver Metro on Christmas or even the day after. We'll have to wait and see. This is still many days out, but it's possible we get a storm system 12:24, 12:25. All right, my snow forecast, 12:17, all of today through tomorrow. So a little bit of leftover snow over the Tetons and, of course, the central and northern mountains of Colorado. The big stuff is all in the Pacific Northwest and BC. Look at Revelstoke at a foot coming between this afternoon and tomorrow morning. About a foot for Whistler, Baker, Crystal, Rainier, and Stevens Pass. So really good stuff up there in the Pacific Northwest. 12:19 through 12:26. This accounts for potentially two storm systems, including that 12:24, 12:25 storm system. So about a foot for the Sierra, 6 to probably 8, maybe 6 to 10 for the Wasatch, up to 8 inches for parts of Colorado's mountains. And again, we'll have to wait and see whether we get snow all the way down into Denver. It's possible. And look at the Tetons, another 5 to potentially 8, 9, 10 inches up there through Big Sky. So a great flow through that area. Idaho looks good through Brundage and Sun Valley. And look at the Pacific Northwest and BC, still getting hammered by heavy snow. Potentially 1 to 2 feet there through Whistler and Baker, Crystal, Rainier, Stevens. Interior BC, another potential foot for Revelstoke. I mean, between the first period and the second period, here's the first period, there's a foot, and then there's another foot. So we could be looking at a couple feet there through Revelstoke. Obviously, a little bit less, as you can see, down through Kicking Horse and Red Mountain and Fernie, but still new snow. So 2 very good time periods. Okay, in the Northeast, still nothing big, unfortunately. We transitioned into this pattern of just light snows. And there are a few chances. I didn't really detail those. But looking at the dates here, some light snow accumulation, 12:18, 19, 12:20, and then light to moderate 12:25. So that's how I get to these totals right here. And there really isn't a whole lot of accumulation. Okay, guys, we'll end on the big map here that runs us through Christmas across the West, 12:19 through 12:26. Enjoy all the powder. Be safe out there. And thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate it. Take care.